This video is going to be showing you a solo master Nightfall on the Lake of Shadows, getting the platinum rank on a Titan. For those that just want to see the run, then skip the timestamps I have available to you. But other than that, I can show you my mods, the weapons I used, etc. So first of all, I'll discuss the modifiers, because we haven't had Lake of Shadows up for a bit. So I'll just remind you of what we've got. Denial, take and vandals summon their shield significantly more often. Champions are unstoppable and overload, so we've got a spec for those two. Famine, all ammunition drops are reduced, which doesn't affect us, which I'll tell you why. Equipment locked, match game, champions mob as always, incoming environmental damage is increased, knockback damage and distance is increased, which I can talk about those mods in the run. The setup we chose for a Titan, this is more for an underpowered person, somebody who's lower than 1350, so probably somebody who's lower than 1340. You can still solo it, but the lower you go, so if you're 1333, 4, 5, it's going to be harder and tougher the lower you go. So if you are really low, you're best off just LFGing it. If you want to quick clear it, you're always best off doing that anyways, but if you want to solo it like this, and you're about 1340, 1339, you can definitely do it. So we're using Sunbreaker, bottom tree core, the Siegebreaker, with Thermite Grenade, a Rally Barricade. Do not put Taron Barricade on, use Rally Barricade. We pair that with the exotic chestplate Hollow Fire Heart, which gives us a really quick cooldown on our grenades when our server is charged. Our armor mods are pretty simple, but if you want to use Wallmine cells, you want to use Protective Light, all that stuff, you can. I just went for a simple approach. So we've got ammo finders on our helmet. We've got a max discipline because we're using Hollow Fire Heart. You want highest recovery and highest resilience. Having highest resilience is pretty decent, and again, that's another thing I'll talk about in the run. For this specifically, Overload Bow, Unstoppable Fusion Rifle. So those are our two champion mods. Solar damage resistance is so important in this, so put that one on, and a Concussive Dampener. That's your best resistance that you're going to get and find in this run, okay? And then for the boots is Scavengers, so the Artifact mod for Fusion Scavenger, Grenade Launcher Scavenger, and then this is the important thing, Withering Heat, Utility Kickstart will really help out as well, so we got that. So when you use your class ability, you get class ability back. It just make your class ability stasis, it's really handy. Withering Heat causes, when you cause damage with a solo champion, you debuff the champion for a short duration. That is very powerful with this setup, because we're always going to have solar abilities up frequently. Our weapon choice was the exotic Grain Launcher Witherhoard, a arc bow with explosive head, and a solar linear fusion rifle with high impact reserves. If you wanted to swap this around, say for example you want to use a solar bow and then a arc tarantula, then use that. Whichever one works best for you. There's the raid solar bow you could use, and as a tarantula. That's the setup, the weapons and the mods. So with Lake of Shadows, it's a pretty basic Nightfall. It's not too difficult. I'm sure we all remember when the double loot was first introduced, and Lake of Shadows was one of the first Nightfalls that had the double loot. So it's not double loot this week though, but it is an easy farmable Nightfall. But when you are under leveled, it does change things a little bit, and it's going to be longer than just 10 minutes. Especially on a solo, you know, you're going to be looking at upwards of 20 minutes. If you're really low, you're 40 minutes, depending on, how much you want to commit to it. But this starting section, you first want to break the shields on the phalanxes. They spawn in just as you get there. Break their shield, then do a Witherhoard shot to get them weak, and then throw a nade to your right. If you noticed, I rallied off a public event already, which means I get my Sunfire Furnace perk already. If that isn't the case, it's fine. You're just gonna play pretty much the same as what I did just there. It just might be, it might mean that you take longer on the Scions. Okay, but you definitely want to deal with the Scions as quickly as possible, because they just keep duplicating over and over and over, especially if they go into cover. Then we're going to come right over to the far left side, and then deal with the champion from over here. We'll deal with him in 2 stuns. Obviously our linear is going to be doing that. We're going to use a mixture of damage via our Witherhoard and the linear fusion. Obviously we're going to use the Withering Heat, which you just need to use the solar ability, you get the debuff. going on the champ. I don't know what the percentages are. I haven't looked at the numbers. This is my first time properly using the mod. Okay? I'm sure someone out there is going to say it's this percentage. If you know the percentage, put it in the comments. That's cool, because I don't even know myself. I haven't had time to look at a lot of stuff. Okay, so with the next bit, you can see I'm doing the whole thing differently. Now, using the technique I'm going to do here means that you will kill 2 champions less, and you will avoid spawns of adds. So we know how this regularly works, right? So you would clear the first Blight, and then there's champion spawn up ahead. That doesn't happen if you don't take the Blight. But the unstoppable champions are already to the second Blight and the third Blight, because there's 2 champions per Blight for the second and third. They're already there. So they don't need to be triggered, but the overlords do. So this is very interesting about this Nightfall. I used to do this when it was ages ago, when it was a Nightfall. The difference is now all the spawns. See, things change when they make changes to the game. Coding and what so. Things change with the game. So now that we do it like this, where we're not taking down the Blights, it's key that you don't take the first or the second Blight. You leave them up. If you want to do it like this, you must leave them up. Okay, it's going to make it easier and the quicker clear, for sure on that. So we're just going to take as I say, the champions first. This makes it easy because there's no captains throwing their darkness walls at you. There's no scions, like the goblins, sorry, things like that. There's just the unstoppables, which is great. You can roam around the map, stop them at your will. You use Witherhoard, what have you. Really manage your ammo though, because you've got Famine on. Now the scavenger perks are really going to help out. Also per green brick, I don't think it's every green brick, but most green bricks you'll get 1 heavy ammo shot on linears. So that works with Sleeper Simulant, works with all the heavy linears and stuff. I don't know what else it works with, because again, I haven't had a lot of time to test out all this stuff because I've been leveling up constantly, doing pinnacles. Just haven't got time to test all that stuff out. But as things, start to stabilize for leveling, I'll be able to give you definite answers on everything. But as I said, generally you'll get 1 linear shot per green brick, which you'll see that. Just pay attention to my ammo drops. Now we're going to do the encounter backwards, so you can see I'm going to take out the third Blight, the second Blight, then the first. This ensures that no champions spawn in this area. There will be 2 champions. In total there's 4 overlords in this sort of, if we include the whole area itself, there's 4, but you'll only get 2 if you do it like this. Which, as I said, it's decent. I've playtested this 3 times because you're still going to get platinum. That's the thing. You'll still get platinum for this. But for whatever reason, at the end of this run, it didn't state I got platinum. It didn't give me a reward ranking. I will say that this is probably my 5th clear of the Nightfall. I've done it in team 2 or 3 times. I've done it solo 2 or 3 times. So like 6 times I've already done it. But you'll see the loot at the end's a bit rubbish for some reason. But I will show footage at the very end of a run where I actually do it the way I'm doing it, but show you that you do actually get platinum. If there's RNG to it, then let us know on your runs. Are you not getting platinum because you're skipping champions here? I mean, you shouldn't. You should be getting platinum, especially if it's your first clear. You will get the platinum, and obviously the 100k. The 100k won't be affected by this at all. You're definitely going to get 100k regardless. It's just, as I say, at the very end of this, a little bit weird, fishy the loot. But on a run prior to this, I've done the exact same run as this, just a little longer. Skip the champions, right back there, and I got platinum. You'll see it at the very end of it. I'll include it. So I'm just demonstrating here how good a explosive head bow can be. So you can see, you can essentially just peg them down with a bow. You don't need to use ammo. Like if you're low on Witherhoard, you're low on linear, then just use the bow. If you really want to incentivize, ammo for the next encounter and the next encounter, and not really run out of ammo. Manage your ammo, especially when you're under leveled. It matters a lot. And now that ammo is infinite for primaries, it even makes more sense to be using more bow on your champs rather than your other weapon types. But again, if there's ammo on the floor, you know, use your other weapon types to assist. If you spiral through that door there, you'll skip sort of having to take the door out to get through. Now we're going to rely on our Hallowfire Heart for a lot of stuff. Okay, so there's a lot of solar captains. There's 3 solar captains in this room, and they can be annoying. But I'll demonstrate how to sort of safely take them out. Be aware of the walls. The taken walls give increased damage. If they boot you into another wall, that can kill you. On GM, on Grandmaster difficulty, that will kill you. On this difficulty, depending on your level, if you're below 1340, a good hit from a wall, it's probably going to kill you. So just be careful of the walls, take your time with it. If you don't know the timing on them, wait for them to do their push, and then run past. Okay, so with these 2 knights at the bottom of the stairs, you want to rely on your nades, which we're getting quick grenades because we've got 100% discipline, and we have Hallowfire Heart, and we've got the Sunfire Furnace, so we've got all the nades in the world for this. So it's really good. This works out really good for the time, because as I said, it's the hardest thing about this run. I wouldn't even say it's champions, it's the knights, and they always have been. When we get to the GM difficulty, you'll find the knights, they will absolutely wreck when they do their solar flames. That's why we run solar resistance. You've got the solar resistance on, that protects you against that. Scions do arc, they're not a threat as long as you do a nade on them, or Witherhoard. Witherhoard can clear out a bunch of Scions, and that's easy, easy work. So Scions aren't a problem. Snipers aren't really a problem because you've got a bow on, you're taking everything from distance. It's always the knights. Okay, so there's 2 champions there you saw. So this is where the Withering Heat comes in. When I can't always stop a champion, or I'm unsure about stopping one, then I can use Withering Heat to buff up my damage even though the champion's not stopped. And Witherhoard works out really well with this. So what I do is I do a stop, I'll do a Witherhoard, and then I'll do 2 linear shots. That almost kills the champion. Well, it did kill the champion. So it works out, amazing, especially when you're under-leveled. When you're at power, you're going to absolutely melt these champions with Withering Heat. It's probably going to be one of the best perks for the Titan this season for dealing with champion solo. And wait till you get to power, you'll be melting them in one phase easy on your own as well. This champion's weak, he's one shot, so rather than waste a linear, I'm just going to use the Witherhoard, because you'll find that the linear fusion, with the way we're doing Unstoppable, of course it's via our heavy, you're going to find that that's more valuable ammo than the Witherhoard, because you're going to get plenty of Witherhoard special bricks, but you're going to get less heavy. So try to sort of brace yourself with ammo and don't spam linear so much. It might be tempting to do so. Obviously get your ammo finders on, that's going to help out massively, but I wouldn't say otherwise. If you're 1350, I don't think anyone is, or there'll be someone out there that is, but if you're really close to master level power, then you can sort of do what you want. It's going to be easy at that point for you, but this is more for people who are under leveled. The build I've got on right now will work, as I say, if you're in the probably high 1330s, but if you're prepared, you could do this technically at 1325. It would just be like a GM, but you'd have to solo this as a GM. Bear in mind, Famine's on, so that's technically harder than what a GM would be, because we don't get Famine on GM. So if you're 1325 or below, just be prepared that it's going to be GM difficulty at that point for you. Anything in the mid 1530s, you're going to be fine to sort of do this, but you do have to play at a certain pace. So we're going to take out the Overload on the top perch first. Then I want to deal with the snipers. I'll do a nade as well, just a speculative one, see what happens. I'll get the knight. That ain't always going to happen, but because we can spam our nades, you can always try it. Or just break the knight's shield with your solar linear. What you'll find is the knight, the solar ultra, will de-aggro if you kill all snipers and the overload on the bridge. However, if you leave them alive, the knight will not de-aggro, meaning he won't hide behind the boxes, meaning we can easily take him out. But again, don't push up too far, like stay here where I am, and the snipers won't snipe at you. The overload will, but the overload if you're standing where I am, like pay close attention to where I stand. It's everything. I could be standing, you know, a couple of inches further forward, and I could be getting wrecked by his sniper shots. But I'm not. I'm strafing left and right because I know the timing of their shots of their sniper. Knowing all that knowledge, you know, it makes out the difference. It's night and day. Now there's going to be sounds below duplicating. Well, you don't need to save a grade on this build. You're going to have one. Use your nade in that room and lead off with a melee. Because they're going to try and duplicate, but your sunspot build is going to negate the duplication. Okay, so with this section, you don't want to jump over the other side. There's two champions, an overload and an unstoppable. If you get clean sight of the overload, then sure, go for the overload. But you really want to take the unstoppable before the overload. Just my overload on this run, like I said, I've done a couple of runs, and generally the unstoppable will stand in view and not the overload, but it's all RNG. It just depends. But if the overload's standing in a favourable position, that's fine. It's just when the overload will maybe retreat round that corner and he's half health, you've just wasted ammo then, because he's going to regen. So just play this by ear. If the unstoppable's standing in front of the overload, that's perfect. Do the unstoppable first, using your nade. Even if he's not stopped, still use a nade on them with a Witherhoard. That's going to get your Withering heat going. And then that's the unstoppable dealt with. So don't jump over there, because as I say, if you jump over there, you're going to have to... Only if you've got a sword on. If you're using maybe Lament and you're doing a sword strat, which I thought about using a sword strat to sort of one phase the boss, but I don't think I would be able to do it at this power. Maybe when I get up in power with a bubble, Lament or Guillotine, probably be able to solo one phase it. That'll be coming. If I get high enough throughout the week, like the latter end of the week, then I will try the one phase on the boss. You could do it with 1k voices, but I really don't want to use that in a vid. But if enough people want to see that, then I'll do a 1k voice run. Because 1k voices is such a fun weapon to use this season with particle deconstruction. So if you want to see a 1k voice solo this week, let us know about that. But I do understand people don't have that gun. There'll be some people who don't have it. So that's why I haven't initially done a run with that weapon. So with this section here, it's kind of dangerous because you've got a boot wall just behind you and the knights. So the two knights on the perches, so you want to take out the goblins first, because the goblins will make the knight immune, so you're not going to get anywhere with that. So take out any goblins you see. Sometimes they'll teleport because there's right and left. Sometimes the goblins from right teleport to left, which that's ideal if that happens. As there's an orange bar knight on the other side. Now, as I said, the solar flames in this wreck, there's no incoming solar on. It's just the nature of knights. They generally do wreck regardless. But what I'm trying to do here is take out that goblin. The goblin is in the way. Take out the goblin, stay behind this pillar, and you're fine. What you want to do is quickly take the shield, use your linear or a nade, whichever you want to do. And if you can Witherhoard the knight, then the knight will be done. I've got a high energy fire on my armour, which I mentioned at the start, so that's 20% plus damage. It just assists me with taking down key targets, that's all it's for. But again, if you want to use Protective Light, it's going to work just as well. The lower power you are, the more likely you're probably going to want Protective Light. Because I'm 1341 and the adds aren't swords, because there's different ratings of adds. There's swords, there's and skulls. And then the standard. I'm on the standard ratio of adds now because I'm within 9 power of the master, so I'm fine to not sort of need Protective Light. But if you're below 1341 and you maybe 1339, 38, which most people are approaching sort of high 30s now, then Protective Light might be a better bet. Which again, you could use a shield break charger, take and charge setup to do that sort of thing. With this room here, you don't want to aggro the wizard. Don't let the wizard see you. Once the wizard sees you, it then has the wizard constantly summon Take and Thrall. But the interesting thing is, the wizard won't summon Take and Thrall until the wizard sees you, which that never used to be a thing. The wizards used to summon a thrall no matter what, all the time, constant. But now it's kind of better actually. When they see you, they summon the thrall, which now he's going to do that because I can hear the audio cue. He's done that. It's only one, so they've kind of nerfed these wizards. They used to summon like 2 or 3 at a time. It's only one shadow thrall. That's fine. We take him. Don't let the wizard get much attack on you because they can actually destroy. So because it's a void shield and we don't have any void on, it's the only void shield in the Nightfall. We're going to use a super. That's fine. We're going to get it back. It's counterproductive to use your super on this setup, but there's some occasions where it's like, okay, I need to use it. Now, generally, I like Phoenix Cradle, the exotic boots, but for this, because of how we do the boss fight, Hollow Fire is just the way to go because you're getting grenade energy back without having to do anything. So you can throw a grenade behind cover and still get that high recharge rate. That is huge. If you're going to use this, if you're going to do this on something like Striker, or maybe not Striker, but on Sentinel at least, you can use Heart of Inmost Light and get very, very good grenade energy, like 15-second grenades on Code of the Commander, or even top tree Void Wall grenades. They're going to be, that would be really good. But again, there's so many Solar Knights, I just feel as though Sunbreaker's going to do you better. But if you are high enough to solo one phase the boss with a sword, then obviously Sentinel will be better with a bubble. With this champion, you want to be careful. Be careful. Use sort of the Withering Heat. So make sure you got a nade for this. To sort of destroy that the Overlord, because the Overlord, that one we just took out, there's not much cover, so you've got to strafe his shots. A bit unpredictable, that champ, so make sure you get a Withering Heat. Maybe destroy them with a linear if you really want, but make sure you got plenty of linear for the boss fight. Make sure you got plenty of everything. So your Witherhoard, you don't need to count, you don't need to look at your ammo, your bow ammo, but definitely your special and your heavy needs to be, you know, close to max, because you're going to need a lot of ammo for this fight because of how we're doing it. So it's going to be an exploit. It's, you know, you call it cheese. I would call it, it's not game breaking, but it allows you to solo something. So, and Bungie, they'll be aware of it because they've seen people solo this, so they've chosen not to take it out. So I believe some cheeses, like soft cheeses, they don't mind certain things where you can hide behind a box and do this or do that. They don't mind certain things. I mean, they did, I suppose, nerf Proven Grounds with what you can do in that, but that was standing on top of the roof. I guess that's sort of the same principle, but with this one, for whatever reason, they haven't changed it. Still the same. So you notice I've got Charge of Light. Now, I only done a nade to break the Knight Shield, and then the rest I just meleeed to keep Charge of Light, because Charge of Light is a weapon buff. If I was to kill another ad, I'm going to lose it. So I just wanted the extra 20% damage. You can see the jumps I made. I really don't need to tell you too much. Just jump on the pipe and then jump on this rock. Once you get a knight onto your right, you'll get a knight to your right. You need to melt the knight as soon as possible. Because environmental damage is increased, it kind of increases splash damage. So the knight does void, but when it hits like a wall or a bit of concrete, it sort of splashes onto you and the knight can destroy you. So use your linear to insta melt the knight. You must melt the knight as soon as possible. Now, in this fight, obviously now we're pretty safe, but the resilience is really needed on the Titan. This run will be way easier on a Warlock with the exotic helmet, the Stag, and you can just keep using your healing rifts. On a Titan, not so much, and on a Hunter, it might not be that good either because you haven't got a lot of protection. You have to use Wormhusk. Wormhusk will be really good up here with the 100% mobility. But again, once we get higher, we won't have to come up here, I guess. But we've having the high. I mean, I've got tier 5 resilience with the Kickstart mod, the stasis. It just means I get almost infinite rally barricades. Now, if I had Tower Barricade on, this fight is screwed. I can't survive with Towering on because, well, you can, but you can't do any damage to the ads because the wall's too big. So don't run Tower unless the whole strat falls down and you won't be able to do your run. Really take your time. I know it's the boss is just there to kill, but really take your time because you can die up here. Look at this. Look at this. There's a Solar Knight to my left, and you just keep spamming. I had a lot of problems with the Knight, but the Knight eventually will reveal himself into a better location. You just sort of need to back up to the very edge of the platform. Keep doing your barricades. Keep an awareness of your health. If you're about to die, you need to pop super, because you'll get a health regen when you do that. So then this Knight here will roam around. So he won't be on top of a perch or something. Which isn't the best. Well, it is the best actually, because eventually you're going to be able to take him out. So Knight's just below us. We'll take his shield quickly. A Witherhoard, rally straight away, because the boss to our left is hitting us. Got to keep an eye on your health on this. Once the Knight's down, you're free. We have a super though for the next phase of Knights, because there will be another phase of Knights. There'll be another 2. There'll be one to my right, one to my left. On the perches this time, on the little pipe things, whatever they're called. So now you're free to do damage. You can use a bit of Witherhoard. Don't use all your Witherhoard doing this. He is annoying to Witherhoard at times, because he'll just keep moving and moving. Sometimes he'll stand still enough for you to, you know, do your Witherhoard. But again, you could just do a Witherhoard and he'll just walk out of it. So just use your bow. You've got infinite ammo that way. Okay, you're in no rush. 23 minutes in. You know, it's not going to be that much longer of a fight. When he goes to middle and does his maneuver like that, that's definitely time to do some Witherhoard and some damage. Maybe some heavy as well if you want it. But make sure, as I say, you've got plenty of heavy just in case things go bad for the Knights. This is just a mini phase of ads. So when you ever see just like 3 Scions, this is just a interlude between damage phases where you get a mini phase. It's not a proper phase of ads, if you like. If you're unsure that the boss is doing too much damage to you, just overload him with your bow. You'll take reduced damage. So you get resistance there when you're doing that. But as I said, just keep spamming your barricade and duck behind your barricade as much as possible. Okay, so we've got Solar Knights now. So the one on the right needs to be took out. So what I decided to do was use super here. It's totally worth doing. And there was a Knight to my left. See, this Knight, you would never be able to get this Knight without super. So getting that Knight with a super to the left and the right was huge. Even though we're going to lose grenade ability energy, that's fine as long as we stay alive. That's the biggest thing. So obviously if we die, we've got to restart the boss fight at the very minimum. We seem to be getting hit excessively here, so I overload in barricade just to make sure we stay alive. Some fraud below us, just take those out. Try to take sounds out as well, because they'll duplicate and get overwhelming, and they can hit you from up here, the sounds. So what I found interesting during the last phase of the fight, obviously the room fills up with taken energy, wherever it is, like the more and more you go on. But Witherhoard will bounce off that. Now, I've never known that, unless my memory doesn't serve me correctly, but I've never seen Witherhoard bounce off the taken surface in here, or anywhere like that. I can't think of anywhere else where we've got like taken energy like that. But Witherhoard just seems to, as I say, bounce off it, which is interesting. The boss is now stationary a lot, so I can just Witherhoard, linear fusion him down. So that's pretty much the basics to this Nightfall. I'm going to show you my previous run at the end getting platinum. So just to prove, you do get platinum with the strategy I done. It's just whatever reason my loot here was bad. I don't know why. And it didn't give me a rate. But I'll show you the extra clip as well. Thank you.